It felt like I was living as a ghost in my own city, haunting the edges of my old life but not allowed to actually be part of it. Around month 4 of probation, something shifted in therapy. Dr. Huang said, "You've been doing the work. I can see you starting to understand the gravity of what happened. But I want to ask you something. What do you think you lost?" I said, "Jess, my relationship." She said, "What else?" I said, "My job, my apartment, my friends, my reputation." She said, "What else?" I didn't know what she was getting at. She said, "You lost your sense of being a good person. You lost your ability to trust your own judgment. You lost the story you told yourself about who you are." And that hit me, because she was right. I'd always thought of myself as a good guy. Logical, yes. A little emotionally stunted, sure. But fundamentally decent. Someone who would never intentionally hurt anyone, and then I did. I intentionally hurt someone I loved, and I'd rationalized it so thoroughly that I didn't even see it as wrong until it blew up in my face. I said, "So how do I get that back?" She said, "You don't. You can't go back to being the person you thought you were. That person didn't actually exist. He was someone who prioritized comfort and control over genuine connection. You have to become someone new. Someone who understands that love isn't about making things easier for yourself. It's about showing up for another person's full humanity, even when it's uncomfortable." I said, "I don't know how to do that." She said, "That's okay. You're learning." I thought about that a lot over the next few weeks. I was delivering food one night, late shift, mostly going to college kids ordering late night pizza. I dropped off an order at this apartment complex, and on my way back to my car, I saw this couple arguing in the parking lot. The guy was standing really close to the girl, pointing his finger in her face. She was crying, backing away. He kept advancing. I stopped. Every instinct told me to keep walking. Not my business. Don't get involved. I was on probation for assault. The last thing I needed was to insert myself into someone else's domestic situation, but I couldn't because I'd been that guy. Not physically aggressive, but controlling in my own way, and no one had stopped me. I walked over, said, "Hey, is everything okay here?" The guy turned to me. "Mind your own business." I said, "I'm just checking if she's okay." The girl said, "I'm fine. Please go." But she didn't look fine. She looked scared. The guy said, "She said she's fine. Leave." I said to the girl, "Do you need a ride somewhere? I can call someone for you." The guy stepped toward me. "Dude, I'm not going to tell you again." I should have walked away, but I didn't. I said, "I'm not leaving until I know she's safe." He shoved me. Not hard, but enough that I had to step back. I didn't shove back. I just held up my hands and said, I don't want to fight. I just want to make sure she's okay." A door opened in one of the apartments. A woman yelled, "I called the cops. They're on their way." The guy grabbed the girl's arm. "We're leaving." She pulled away from him, ran toward the woman who'd opened the door. The guy looked at me, then at the girl, then just left. Got in his car and drove off. The cops showed up about 5 minutes later. Took statements from everyone. I told them what I'd seen. The girl, her name was Amy, said he was her ex, that he'd shown up drunk and wouldn't leave. One of the cops asked me, "You live here?" I said, "No, I was just delivering food." He said, "Good thing you stopped. Who knows what would have happened." After they left, Amy came over to me. She said, "Thank you. You didn't have to do that." I said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "Most people would have just kept walking." I said, "I used to be most people, trying to be better." I drove home thinking about that, about how easy it would have been to walk away, how I would have walked away 6 months ago because it wasn't my problem. But I learned something from all of this. I learned that when you see someone being hurt, you don't get to pretend it's not your problem. You don't get to rationalize that it's complicated or that you don't have the full story. You just have to act.